I meant to record Tithi video with this background right here since it fit where she came from, which is Octopath, but when I was recording my script, I forgot to change it, so therefore, there is no sandy background for this video. Tithi is a dancer from Octopath. Unlike other dancers though, besides buffing, she's also great at a lot of other stuff like multi-hit and lightning defense down and also inflicting debuff. And her main gimmick is that most of her skill gain an additional effect when you boost them to the max. Roaring Rhapsody when boosting max is essentially costs 0 SP, and a lot of people use that skill to farm for the enemy without going back to the end to refresh the SP. Thunder Lament is a 3-hit lightning that debuff the enemy lightning defense down per hit like most other scholars have. Some of her skill can stack with itself with the boost max version because for some reason the game treats her normal version and her boost max version as two separate skills, so unlike most other skills where they cannot stack by itself, this skill can stack, well most of her skill can stack together. For example, if you use this move at boost max and use the normal version after that, this move is now debuffing 30% lightning defense down by itself. Her strongest move is Thunder Poem, which is her 2-hit lightning AoE that debuff attack and elemental attack, and like most of her skill, it can also stack with itself. This skill by itself can debuff 30% elemental attack and physical attack down on everyone on the enemy team, and as a bonus, also 15% defense and elemental defense down. Against single target, debuffer like Viola can still shine because her skill, the turn duration, is boostable. But against multiple enemy, where Viola can debuff only one enemy at a time, Tithi can just take care of that, and not only that, she will also cap out the attack and elemental attack down. Last is her front row buff, which like the other skill can also stack with itself, so therefore if you use the skill normally and then the boost max version, she will gain a total, well the entire team will grant a total of 30% attack up, elemental attack up, and also critical up. One special thing about this buff though is that since the boost max version grant 1 BP to everyone, if you use it on 5 VP, then potentially you can casting boost max twice on your character twice in a row because the buff will replenish 1 BP for the character. This is also an alternate method to Alphen Permanganate Shower, since the purpose of that is to boost max twice in a row when the enemy is in break. Tithi can also do the same. Tithi's first passive is kind of useful on her, since turn 1 you can just cast boosting max AoE debuff everyone, turn 2 you cast it again but the normal version so it's stacked with the boost max version, and turn 3 you now have 3 BP again so you can cast another boost max skill right away. The second passive is a nice bonus to her, since Tithi is the type of unit that would like to use her skill when at max BP a lot, so having the extra BP occasionally does help out with that. As for her ultimate, it's not good on someone like her. If only her ult was something like Lynette ultimate, then she would be the perfect dancer buffer for everyone to have, but it's not, so she doesn't necessarily power creep Lynette right away. Like Primrose, other than just buffing, she can also deal great elemental lightning damage. Her skill works well with the other lightning user, and she also has high elemental attack, so you don't have to bring Tithi for just the buff only, you can just bring her for the lightning damage. And like Primrose, her ultimate doesn't buff anyone like Lynette does, which I wish it was, but I feel like for the time when Tithi was released, having that much good skill on someone like her would make her too overpowered, I guess. Currently, in Tithi would be the second best buffer in the game. I say second best because I still think that Lynette with her ultimate buff and her passive buff is still better as a buffer than Tithi. In the Land of the Rising Sun, Tithi's value has been reduced down to 2 things. One is that her ability to keep infinite farming, and 2 is her attack debuff. Tithi is still the only character in the game that can debuff AoE 30% attack and elemental attack down, and the current in-game content in JP require you to fight a lot of tough enemy, so Tithi is more useful than most other debuffer when it's come to that. One example is Tiggerland EX rematch where the enemy there is very tough and Tithi is better as a debuffer because not only she deal lightning damage to some of the ads, she also debuff everyone attack, and someone like Viola or Therion cannot debuff all of them at the same time. Let's compare Tithi to Primrose. With the exception of damage, everything else that Primrose do, Tithi can do it somewhat better. The only thing that Primrose shines for herself is that her elemental attack is higher, so her dark damage do deal more than Tithi lightning damage. Another is that Primrose debuff focus mainly on defense and elemental defense down, while Tithi debuff is focused mainly on attack and elemental attack first, and the defense down is a bonus. Which means that Primrose suit to be a better dark offensive DPS, while Tithi suit more to be a defensive lightning DPS. Tithi is the best Sacred Blaze unit we have so far, and when compared to the other limited unit, she is still better because her value hasn't been power creep yet, and even other units like Odette and Liana, they already has been power creep in JP. Since a lot of people don't have enough rubies since we just came back from the new collab, I guess my advice is to wait until the next Sacred Blaze unit like Xenia or Leon and pull on their banner to get them and also Spark for TC.